What's good, everybody? It's your favorite fantasy footballer, the Guchinni JD, representing the Hard to Start podcast. Man, we back with another banger for the 2026 fantasy football offseason. We still holding ourselves accountable out here in these fantasy football streets. We ain't ducking our takes, and we ain't popping out only when we right. But before we get into the content, I need you to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're trying to help this community to grow, share this to your league mates. But before we get into the first player, let's run the intro.
You have now access to complicated production.
You ripped the money!
We rich. Look.
We're not rich!
I told y'all last year Jauan Jennings was going to be the steal of the draft. And if his 2025 production came close to his 2024 production, the way that he was eating had him thinking that the Niners was about to break him off that bag, but he did not get that contract going into the 2025 season and was a hold-in during training camp. And that was part of the reason why he got banged up early in the season. And I hate to say it, but this clip also right here is what killed my Jauan Jennings tape. Here we go. Let's drop it real fast, y'all. Boom.
The Niners are smart. They'll use CMC more in the receiving game, which I don't think that's going to take away from Jauan's, him being in the pecking order of the targets, the way that the targets are going to get distributed 100%. You know what I mean? The top three is going to be Kittle, CMC, Jauan Man, and Brandon Ayuk 100%. And
it's a cold world out here in these fantasy football streets. And we out here still holding ourselves accountable, y'all. Cold world. Coming into 2025, I said that Jauan was the steal of the draft. And why I say that is because Debo was in Washington with 81 targets up for grabs. Jennings posting a 26.3% target share, commanding a whole lot of targets, y'all. That boy was out there eating in 2024. And that was 15th at the position. And in a high-powered offense, I looked at that and said, yeah, the breakout is coming. But all we got was 15 games played in 2025, 90 targets, only 6 of them per game, a target share of 20%, 19 red zone targets with 11 receptions, 55 receptions total with 3.7 per game, 643 yards with 42 per game, and 9 tutties. Cold world, bro. So when I looked at them 2024 numbers, and we about to get into them, but going into the 2025 season, 100%, I'm like, bro, about to cook. And we seen how he did not, he wasn't trying to capitalize on what we had going last year, 100%. But also, I knew that Ayuk wasn't going to be ready for the first half of the season. So there was an opportunity for those targets. And with those two out the lineup, my boy, like I said, he didn't capitalize. He had 23 less targets and 22 less receptions and played the same amount of games in the last 2 seasons. That's crazy. But let's look at San Francisco 2025 target breakdown to see what killed us. We go right here. We had CMC, and like how I played the clip from last year talking about Jauan. CMC, 129 targets with 102 receptions. I said if the Niners are smart, they'll use him more in the passing game, but it definitely killed Jauan, 100%. But then Jauan was second in targets with 90 of them and 55 receptions. Then you had GKO, who only played 12 games. 69 targets with 57 receptions. Highly efficient with 7 tutties. That was a damn good season for Kittle if he wouldn't have got hurt at the end of the year. And then you have Ricky P or KB, Kendrick Bourne. Shout out to my dog Kendrick Bourne. He's out in Arizona now. Got a couple dollars to go out there with 53 targets. And then you had Slick Rick P with 53 targets and 36 receptions. So yeah, the opportunity was there for Jauan Man to eat, y'all. 100%. You see it right there. Was only one person on the team that went over 100 targets, and that was the running back, dog. 100%. Let's get back into it, though. I identified Jauan as a red zone monster last year. My only L on this take was not doubling down on Jauan Man doing it again, because as a Niner fan, we know for the last 2 years that in the red zone in the receiving game, it's either CMC, Jennings, or GKO. But there's evidence on how here's the evidence on how I overhyped this role. 100%. And this is another L right here. You know what I mean? If we look, and I just said this before, bro, he had damn near the same role for the last 2 years, but in 2024, that's where he boomed. In 2025, that's where he didn't boom. And that's why we played that intro video of him ripping up the money because they thought they was balling after the 2024 season. But the Niners was like, nah, bro, we not giving you that guap. But look though, 2024, 113 targets with 7.5 per game. A target share of 26.3. A red zone targets, 15 of them with 8 receptions. 77 receptions with 5.1 per game, and then he averaged 65 yards per game. So that's 11 points right there in fantasy with no tutties at all. And he almost hit 4,000 out in receiving yards, 100%. And he upped his TDs from 2024 and 2025 with 9 of them. Red zone monster, 100%. Then if we look on the right side of this graphic, you see, bro, 6 targets per game, 3.7 receptions per game. 42.9 receiving yards per game. 100%. That ain't nothing but 8 points with no tutty. He still had the same role, but Buddy could not eat cereal with a fork, y'all. 100%. You know what I mean? So he got his money over there in Minnesota this year for sure. 100%. But let's get back to it. I completely whiffed on this one, gang. He only gave us one top 24 finish in the first 8 weeks, but missed 2 games in that time. Then he gave us 7 double-digit fantasy point games to end the season, starting in week 9. Let's pull up the game, y'all. The game log, y'all. And see, I tried to knock down a pattern because in the fantasy community, you know what I mean, we've seen Mac Jones come in and save the Niners season and be fantasy relevant, and you know, with CMC, he had chemistry with Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne had like a 140-yard game. But back to Jauan, man, if you see right here, the games in green are the games with Brock, and the games in red, are the games with Mac Jones. And see, it really ain't no pattern. It's just that bro was banged up in the beginning of the season. And then once he, was able to shake off his owies and he knew he was trying to get paid, what I say, 7 double-digit fantasy points to end the season, starting in week 9. And you see it right here, bro. Bro was going crazy, 100%. So, yeah, I tried to find a pattern to identify what it was, but I really think it was just him being banged up at the end of the season. He shook off his owies, and got to getting jiggy because he knew he had to try and get that bag 100%. So let's get back to it. So my lesson learned from this take is previous production going into a contract year, especially if a player and team can't get the deal done before the start of the camp, is a red flag. Then he was in a hole during camp because he held in for a minute, So bruh didn't get back till September 1st. Then he gets hurt, misses games, and then the star of the offense is back. From this 13-game hiatus from 2024 and took over his role back. So yeah, we definitely ain't making no excuses. 100%. The opportunity was there for Bretta Boone. He didn't. He saved our season with them touchdowns. But we had to wait until the back end of or the second half of the fantasy season. You know what I mean? If you were fortunate enough to keep him on your team or fortunate enough to trade for him, the back end of the season, he definitely produced. But you know what I mean? We need production from week 1 to week 17, 100%. So that's an L, 100%. Let's get into the next player, y'all.
I'm the fucking star. Look, I'm the fucking star. I'm the fucking star right here. I'm the fucking star, man. I'm the fucking star. I'm the fucking star, man.
Hey, I told y'all that Lad was going to be a star in 2025, and his star got dimmed, so he has future. Turn on the lights, and we're going to break down why Lad's light was a tad bit dimmed in 2025, but we got to rewind back to 2024 to get the whole perspective. Lad finishes as the wide receiver 12 as a rookie. Justin Herbert's wide receiver 1 with 112 targets, 24.5% target share, and elite efficiency with 10.3 yards per target and 14 yards per reception. My young bull was cooking in 2024. Brody was 6th in slot snaps, Herbert's safety blanket. And the next closest Charger wide receiver in targets was QJ with 91. So I looked at that and said, yeah, draft him as a high-end WR2 and the ROI will be nasty. But my homework was great on this stock, but the price dropped quicker than I can sell my shares. But we got to get into what the fella was right, bro, because the tail of the tape is right there. He had 107 targets with a 21.3% target share. He averaged 3.9 first read targets. He was still Herbo's favorite guy in the slot with 521 slot snaps, and he had 310 Deuce yards, aka yards after the catch, with a 1.69 target share. The target separation. And as we see, let me pull it back up. His role did not change. You see it right there on the graphic, 100%. The only thing that changed was the efficiency. And in my opinion, here's why. First off, they brought back a Charger legend in Keenan Allen in early August of last year. Buddy played all 17 games, and you see it right here on the screen. He had 122 targets with 81 receptions, 777 receiving yards with a 9.6 yards per reception, 22.6% target share with a 6.4 yards per target, only 215 slot snaps. So there we go right there. We've seen back-to-back seasons that Lad spent over 400 slot snaps, 100%. And Keenan only had a 1.43 target separation. And he averaged, he averaged 5.1 first read targets per game. OG was killing it, especially when things broke down over there because he knew where to be, when to be there, because the offensive line was boo-boo last year. We about to get into that, bro, because that's another perspective on why the lad take didn't hit. We see it right here. 5.1 first read targets per game for OG Keenan Allen. Then we come over here to the side-by-side of Lad in 2024, bro, with no Keenan. 5.1 first read targets. 2025, only 3.9 first read targets per game. A-dot is the same from 2024 and 2025. Then look at the slot snaps. 24, 473. 25, 521. The role stayed the same. Played the same amount of games, bro, and only had 5 less targets. But let me get some more evidence on why Keenan Allen was doing his thing, bro. 100%. We're going to pull this graphic up right here. Check out this offensive line breakdown for the Chargers. The last two seasons, they didn't have cohesiveness. In 2024, the offensive line, they had cohesiveness in 2024, but in 2025, they had to shuffle around many times over. And in my opinion, is why Lad's efficiency took a dip in OG Keenan Allen, knowing where to be, when to be there for his quarterback when the production broke down. I just said that, my bad. But look, in 2024, Every offensive lineman played over 15 games. You had Slater at left tackle, Zion at left guard, Bozeman at center, Pickens at right guard, and Alt at right tackle. And they only gave up 41 snaps, and every time that Herbert dropped back, he only was sacked 7% of his attempts. Then we go over to 2025, off the rip. You only got Joe Alt playing 6 games. And he's out of position at left tackle. Zion, he's playing in his regular position, giving you 6 games. Bozeman at his right position, giving you 16 games. You added Mekhi Becton, which a lot of Chargers fans said that was a free agency bust for them. And then you put Trey Pickens in 2024. He was a right guard. Now you kick him out to right tackle, and he only played 10 games. And then you got 54 sacks, and Herbert was sacked 9.5% every time he dropped back for a 10. Bro, he was getting beat up last year. He was top 3 of getting sacked last year, 100%. So let's get back into this, though. I projected Ladd to have a wide receiver 12 upside with 24 to 20%, 26% target share, to continue with elite efficiency, and to have about 8 to 10 TDs potential. And Brody only gave us a 21.3% target share, 7.4 yards per target with 6 total tutties, and only 11.3 fantasy points per game. So that was a starting flex for you, 100%. You know what I mean? So for Ladd, the ceiling was not the roof. And you see, I got my Jordan jersey on it. He said it at a Carolina game. So our lesson was not to underestimate the addition of a late offseason signing at the same position, especially if the veteran whose game is predicated off feet work and great hands, you know what I mean, catching the ball with all hands, and who can be the outlet guy when everything breaks down. Yes, Ladd did not boom for us, and that's my L. But my boy's role in the offense was still there. The opportunity was still there. It was just harder for him to get his money in 2025 because of the OG wide receiver still getting money. Because that's back-to-back years that Keenan, 2024 in Chicago, over 120, maybe 120 exact at targets. And then in 2025, 120 targets. So, yeah, man, shout out to OG. And then also just the musical chairs effect at offensive line, you know, breaking it down. But he was top 3 in sacks, getting sacked last year. And Keenan came in and snatched that row that Ladd had. So, yeah, you know what I mean? We take the L on that. I take the L on that one, 100%. So, yeah, we on to the next one, y'all.
This punishment stuff is going to stop.
You're not going to tell me what I'm going to do and not do?
I am now the alpha.
Not how this works. I am the teacher.
The alpha takes priority over the teacher. The alpha takes priority over everything. Do you not know how that works?
The teacher is telling the alpha to sit in this seat right now.
And the alpha doesn't have to listen to orders.
Gang, we gotta talk about one of my biggest L's, and this one probably hurt the most, bruh. I called DJ Moore the alpha wide receiver in the room. But Ben Johnson walked in and said, "Sit your $5 ass down before I make change." Let's get into it, bruh. 100% why this hurt the most. In 2024, DJ Moore's usage was nasty. 140 targets, top 10 wide receiver volume, 21 red zone targets, and 20 deep targets. Bro, he's getting the opportunities for big plays, and he was getting the opportunity to score with 21 red zone targets in 2024. You see why Buddy was on my radar. He had 588 yards a deuce, aka yards after the catch, and he was third at the position. Brody was cooking in 2024, and he wasn't doing that with a lot of nobody's around him, bro. Let's look at this 2024 breakdown, and we see a theme right here. We got Keenan Allen on the graphic, bro. In 2024, DJ 140 targets, Keenan 121, Rome with 100, Komet with 55, and Swift with 52. It's like, look, bro, you had 3 pass catchers with over 100 targets, And then you had a tight end with 50 and a running back with 50. So look, bro, he had to compete with targets, but he was the alpha in the room in 2024, 100%. And in 2025, Nino Brown, aka Ben Johnson, hold on, let's pull it up. Told G Money, aka DJ Moore, you ain't the man in the rack no more, bro. And we are opening this offense to spread it out so everyone can eat. And they did that. But DJ fell off like he was the only one on the block with Arm & Hammer Baking Soda, aka only 85 targets, 16% target share, only 50 receptions, 682 receiving yards, and only 207 yards of Duce, and bro only averaged 10 fantasy points per game, bro. That's not a booming trap house, 100%. And then if we look in 2025, the Chicago's target breakdown, Ben Johnson had Iceman distributing the rock to everyone on the block, aka all the pass catchers, and the leading target getter missed 5 games. It's a cold world out here, y'all. Like I said, bro, Nino Brown was out there having Iceman distribute the rock to a lot of spots in the, aka the pass catchers. You got Romo Dunze. Like I said, he missed 5 games, but he had 90 targets. Nobody on this team had over 100 targets. You had DJ with 85, Level and 80. So you had 3 players with 80 targets. Then you had Olamide Zaccheaus with 65. Then you had Luke DeBurden, which one is my favorite. We'll say that for later. But Luke DeBurden with 60. And then Swift and Komet again almost commanding 50 targets. So you had 3 with 80, 2 with 60, and another 2 with almost 50, bro. It's like, man, we letting Iceman get the ball everywhere, 100%. But, when you take a tight end at top, we about to get into it. Hold on, man. Let me stop going ahead. Let's do the side-by-side right here, too. Buddy went from first read player to a gadget play guy. A 15.8% first read share and a 22.8% design target share in 2025, from a 25.2% first read target share and a 41.9% design target share, aka the alpha in the room got demoted to be in the door, man, bro. 100%. That's crazy. But my dog's efficiency wasn't too bad. It's not like he was washed. He had an 8 yards per target and a 13.6 yards per reception with a 1.55 target separation. So he's still being able to get open, and he's still a downfield threat. The talent is still there, and the explosive rating and the yak still says it. 100%. He was not a featured piece. Let's take this off. He was not a featured piece in 2025 of this offense, and that's what killed him. I thought with Keenan's 121 vacated targets and a good share, then would go to DJ. But here it is right here with Nino Brown, aka Ben Johnson, taking a tight end with the 10th pick overall in the 2025 draft and drafting a wide receiver in the 2nd round. The writing was on the wall. That's an L right there. That's a red flag that I did not see 100%. You know what I mean? But like I said, my dog didn't fall off. He just wasn't in Coach Ben Johnson's future plans, especially the way that Colston Leveling and Luke Burden emerged at the end of last year. And Rome started off this season on fire last year, 100%. So we got to give Ben Johnson some credit, a big shout out to starting the youth movement early. And another reason why DJ got bumped down on the pecking order of targets, 100%. So my lesson learned is that vacated targets off a scheme, vacated targets, new offensive scheme with a new offensive guru head coach is to pay attention to the offseason moves. So you have vacated targets from Keenan Allen. He took a tight end with the 10th pick, and they had a solid tight end in Cole Kmet. Then you took a wide receiver in the 2nd round, 100%. It's like, yeah, Ben Johnson was trying to already establish what he want to bring to this offense, to this team, 100%. And like I said, draft Swift, you got to pay attention to the offseason moves, because in the same set of series of accountability, I said draft his same teammate in DeAndre Swift because of the offseason moves. Ben Johnson went and got them 3 offensive linemen, and you know what I mean? It showed in the run game because Swift and Money Game was balling last year. But yet, bro, you got to use the same process for the wide receivers. So yeah, man, that's my L. That's where I learned that, bro. You got to pay attention 100%. And, you know, we trying to pay attention to everything. And that one slipped. That was the 3 must-draft wide receivers recap. Like I said, bro, we not popping out only when we write. And we not running from no takes 100%. I think we got about 4 more videos left in this series. And we about to start cranking up the 2026 players to draft, the players don't to draft, the ones that's finna bust, the ones that's finna boom 100%. I appreciate y'all for stay rocking with the fella 100%. Man, like I said, like, hype, comment, subscribe, share this to your league mates, man. Appreciate y'all for staying to the end of the video, man. Until next time.